Hi everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of my presentation on unit conversion. I'm going to crack straight into it. Remember from part 1 we figured out the area of this red square in centimetres. 5 centimetres on one side times 5 centimetres on the other side is 25 centimetres squared. Okay, this time instead of going down to millimetres we can convert it up to metres instead. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to think how many metres are there in 1 centimetre. Okay, so we know in 1 centimetre, put the right one up. In 1 centimetre, there are 0.01 metres. Okay, we're quite happy how we figured that out, because if you times that by 100, it'll give you 1 again. Right. So we could go at it again, and we could times this 5 centimetres by our conversion rate here. I'm actually going to do this because it's going to prove the point why drawing out this little red square isn't the most efficient way of doing it. If once you start getting up to big numbers, you're going to be all over the place. Well, just to emphasise the point, if we do 5 times 0.01, okay, so that gives us the 0.05 metres. Okay, again this side's the same, 0.05 metres. Okay, then we're just going to use the same calculation here, 0.05 metres times 0.05 metres equals 0.0025 metres squared. Okay, you can see if we're doing it this way, we're getting the numbers are starting to get a bit silly. We've got lots of noughts, we're all over the place. And you imagine if you're doing this with something in the millions or something very small like a micrometer, you can imagine how many noughts there are going to be after this number. It's just not a practical way of doing it. You're saying, Jay, my kids are screaming, I've got to cook my dinner. You know, there's got to be an easier way of doing this. And obviously there is. We can just use the example used in the first way to figure out the conversion factor here, and then multiply it by the squared part. It'll make more sense as I draw it out. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to figure out, right, what's 0.01 in scientific notation or standard index form. So 1 centimetre is what metres in standard index form? It's 1 times 10 to the minus 2 metres. Okay, hopefully you know how we've figured out this the minus 2 part. Okay, if I just change colour, we're moving this decimal point 2 places, and because when it's a small number, it goes to the negative. Okay. Right, so we know it's to the minus 2. Alright, again we're thinking, right, so we need this in centimetres squared. Alright, so you're thinking, right, well we've done this last time, can do the same again. Well, yeah, of course you can. You got this number here, you got the minus 2, and you got this number here, which is 2. So if we multiply them together, what does that give us? That gives us minus 4. Right, so we know now that 1 centimetre squared equals 1 times 10 to the minus 4 metres squared. Okay, we're doing exactly the same thing as we've done before, but then instead of going down small numbers this time, so making the number the actual figure bigger, we're going up, so the number's going to get smaller. Okay, so we're just timesing the power, okay, so the squared part with the negative power on our conversion factor. Okay, 0.01 is the same as 1 times 10 to the minus 2, times them together gives us minus 4. And then what we do is plop this minus 4 onto the 1 times 10. And that will give us our conversion factor from centimetre squared to metres squared. Alright, now we know what 1 metre squared is in terms of centimetre squared. We can do the same as last time. We can figure out what 25 centimetre squared is. if I change colour again. Okay, so we know that 25 centimetres squared is equal to 25 times our conversion factor, which is 1 times 10 to the minus 4. Meters squared. Okay, and at this point, I mean, plop it in your calculator, check I'm doing it right, because I'm doing it off the top of my head and I could be completely utterly wrong. Okay, so we know that 25 centimetres squared is equal to 0.0025 metres squared. We'll check that out. Look, check that out here. 0.025 metres squared. 0.025 metres squared. So hopefully now you can see where we're going with this. Okay, instead of drawing this silly little box every time, all we can do is we can times the squared part by our conversion factor's power in standard index form. Okay, hopefully this will be making a lot more sense to you now, and believe me, once you get this bit, once you can get the area, taking the volume will be just as easy, because it's exactly the same principle. I'm running out of time on this presentation again. Next time I'm going to move on to some more that look more like exam questions, just for the area. Then after that we're going to move on to some volume, and hopefully everyone will be up to speed on it. I hope to see you in the next one.